Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you may be aware anytime I put new content on. Loads of great guests, particularly in this weird, although it's not really, obviously the pre-season sort of started now, so we've only had about 3 or 4 weeks of any football. And obviously the boys on Saturday got Brentford, so that'll be fun. And they had a good run out yesterday as well with Ipswich and Wickham. We'll keep you going during this weird time we're in at the moment. Loads of great guests, including today's guest. You can just see him in the bottom of the screen there. What can we say about Zav? Obviously, joined from the youth team, made his way up to the first team, played, something like 31 times, scored his debut on his first team debut, I believe. Famously scored against Millwall, which means he's a hero wherever he goes now. He doesn't have to buy a beer wherever he comes to West Ham. And now, more importantly, he's back with the under-14s, which is absolutely brilliant. We love to see the West Ham. And my daughter's walked off now. She's obviously bored. And so it's great to see Zav back with the under-14s and being part of the group. How's things going with you, Zav? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Can't complain. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm with my family. So
yeah.
And I'm back to work now. So over the moon.
Yeah. Did you keep in contact with all the boys, all the under-14s during the sort of lockdown?
Yeah, initially they was doing some online programs, so we keep in contact with them via Zoom.
Yeah.
But then after a while, there's only so much of that we can do. So we have to give them a little break, and now they've been back in for 3-4 weeks, I think, non-contact, and there's different phases that they've been doing, and now they're at the stage of contact training, so which is good and better for me.
Yeah, exactly. It must be weird. It must be almost like because obviously, having to not only sort of having to, particularly in the early weeks when there's nothing, you didn't know what was going on, and then having to be sort of seen to be the coach for the kids as well. It must have been hard to sort of, and obviously your kids as well, sort of trying to ingest what's happening in the world and trying to show some comfort with those guys as well. It must be tricky. It was for me, definitely, my daughter.
Yeah, it was tricky. It was a bit different. It's very different from what we're normally used to. And then not being able to be on the grass with the kids and doing everything online like this, it was a bit different for me. But after a while, I got used to it, but still didn't get used to it enough, I guess. I'd rather be on the grass. So it was different, and it's something that we had to do because of the situation. So.
And I think everyone adapted to it. It's and obviously, we had restart, and obviously the boys did the job, which was great. I mean, that was even weird. All that, it's like, for me having to be at the ground, and there's only like 300 people there, and it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop, or just hear the journalist tapping on their laptop. It's so weird. I just don't get it, man. But it's it is weird, but we've had to adjust. When you're watching when you're watching football, like from restart, obviously behind closed doors on telly, do you watch with the crowd noise on or the crowd noise off?
No, I watch it with the noise on.
Is it?
For me personally, like if there's no noise, it's like being in the youth team again and playing reserve football. So it's not the same. No. I need a little bit of effects with it. Obviously, when I'm watching now, I'm looking for different things than what I used to look for. Obviously, I've got that coaching eye. My coaching eye on. So, but it's been good. I have to put the sound, the fans, because the fans, that's who makes football what it is. If I'm being transparent. So.
No, totally. I mean, when we've spoken to lots of ex-Hammers, and we've spoken about the whole sort of behind closed doors, they say, they've obviously you've played youth team, reserve teams, behind closed doors, fixtures and friendlies, and it's just weird. And the fans just give you that extra 20%, if you're feeling a bit crap or it's not going your way. The adverse, obviously, if you're not playing well, it's nice not having a 60,000 fans screaming at you, telling you to buck your ideas up. But it does show how much the fans mean to football. And I mean, even when I'm at the ground, I have to put the crowd noise on because it's weird. I just can't put my head around it.
It's different. It's a lot different for me personally. Like, I've always valued the fans.
Be
in the stadium. But obviously, this time shows you how much more you really value them.
Yeah, it's true. And I always assumed that crowd noise was some bloke in a box. You know, sorry, my dog's got some. Where's she got that from? I always assumed that it was like a sound box. A bloke was in a studio pressing buttons, but I found out it's all done with AI. It's all done with clever stuff with Opta Index, and obviously it's all the feet. Yeah, and so I didn't really know about that, which makes it more interesting. So obviously when we were 3-0 up against Norwich at Carrow Row, when they got booed off the pitch, it's like the robots were turning against them. So poor old Norwich.
Yeah, technology is a beautiful thing these days.
Mental, absolutely mental. But no, it is what it is. And as you said, we've come through it all right, and the boys did a job, and we're still in the Premier League, which is what I wanted. It'd been horrible. I feel sorry for Watford fans who the last time they saw their club, they were in the Premier League, and now they're in the Championship. Bournemouth, you sort of already thought. I know you played for Bournemouth, but Bournemouth were already sort of a little bit, one foot already in. But it was horrible for them, and good for Villa as well. So it is what it is. And
to be fair, I never thought we was going to go.
No,
I was probably one of the only ones. Well, among my friends that actually, I was actually confident.
Yeah,
our fixtures, it suited us, and for me, from experience. Whenever it matters, they always turn up.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. They always do turn up and you just knew.
Even though every game matters, but when it comes to the real crunch time, they turn up.
I know, and you've been around the club long enough, Zav, to know that when we look at the teams, the fixtures, and you see Chelsea at home, you fancy us. When you see us play Watford, everyone was like, "Oh, probably lose to Watford, but beat Chelsea." And it made no sense, but it's just the West Ham way, and everyone's been hardened to it, and that's why we're West Ham fans, because you don't. It's like it's just so unpredictable. You have to watch each game because
over the years we tend to beat the bigger teams and draw or lose to the lesser teams and stuff.
We always have.
That's just us.
It is us. It is. And so you mentioned us. Obviously, what I do every time we get an ex-player on is we talk about their sort of journey to West Ham. Yours started very, very young, obviously, coming through from the youth team. Was it always going to be West Ham you were going to play for, or were other teams when you was playing youth football?
To be fair, I started the academy system quite late. I started at under 16s.
Yeah.
So that's in the academy setup. That's very late. So when I got scouted for West Ham, I was 15. So when I signed, I was just turning 16. So I only had like 6 months to get like a scholarship, because normally they tell you by Christmas times who's getting a scholarship or not before. So you have an opportunity to go on trial at other clubs if you don't get a scholarship. Before the end of the season. So bearing in mind, before that, I never been in the academy system before that. I just played grassroots and didn't really get much training either. Just played games. So yeah, West Ham. Well, we played a tournament in Watford, and West Ham and a few other clubs was there. West Ham was one of the clubs that called me to come in. So I jumped at it, to be fair. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, and then you were in, and it weren't really long, really. I mean, you look at some people who obviously because you started a bit later. It's not like you were, I don't know, Anton, who came in at 12 or whatever and sort of worked his way up. It sort of was quite a quick rise to you to get into the. I mean, eventually when you got into the first team, what's it like when you get told? Because it was Macclesfield, wasn't it? You made your debut.
Yeah.
What's it like? How does it happen? Does the manager bring you in, or is it put on a board, or?
So normally before the day before a game, if you're training with the first team, you have the opportunity of being in the squad.
Of course, yes.
That's just a given. Obviously, but I didn't know. I know it was Macclesfield, so it's a league team. So the managers tend to experiment as such and put in young players and put us on the bench or starting. I didn't know if I was I knew I weren't starting because I weren't in the starting team, because you have to, before every game they do set pieces and things like that. So, but I knew I weren't starting, but I knew I had the opportunity of being on the bench, which I was buzzing about. After training, they put the list up, and obviously I was on the list, but I didn't know who was going to be on the bench. So it was just good to be in and around it, because as a kid, you just want to be in and around the first team. You just want an opportunity.
Yeah.
And for me, I was just buzzing, just being a squad, full stop.
Yeah.
So then I remember the day, like, we turned up at Upton Park, and then they put the bench. They obviously they had to start in 11, and then they done the bench, and I was on the bench. And I was buzzing. That's when I went and text my agent at the time, just before the game, saying I'm on the bench. I was buzzing. So then it was good. Like, I didn't expect to come on. I just thought I was probably making up numbers.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And then it was good. It was a good time.
Yeah, and then you scored.
Yeah,
as well. So not only were you not thinking, you put on the bench, you came on and you scored on your first team debut. Now, there's quite a few West Ham, strikers, particularly. Tony COYI scored his debut, Freddie Sears scored his debut, and you scored. And so that must have been awesome as well. It's like, not only, you said that just is the icing on the cake, it's the cherry on top, really. Coming on, making your first team, and then scoring as well.
Oh, you know what? I was doing an interview the other day, and I was just saying, like, that feeling there, I can't really explain it to you.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say that is because there's a lot of stuff that went on before, and then like I didn't have bad times. Obviously, there's other players that was ahead of me.
Yeah.
When I was in the academy, and then I'm thinking I'll never get the opportunity. So then other players will be in and around the first team or training with the first team. Then I think I'll never get the opportunity. But I'm a person that always believe in my own ability. But the only way I can make someone else believe it is by me actually proving it and working hard. So, and then I had a few injuries as well in the youth team, so that kind of slowed me down. And then that was a bit frustrating. So once I got the opportunity to be on the bench, and then once I got the call to say I'm coming on, I said to myself, I've got to enjoy this as much as possible, because it might not happen again.
True.
So then I tried to do whatever I could to leave an impression, because my thing is, if you're able to leave an impression on someone, they'll want you back. They'll want you to come back. So, and luckily enough, obviously we was losing to start with, so it went into extra time. I think it did. It did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it went into extra time, and when I came on, obviously I was buzzing, just doing whatever I could to be able to be effective, and just to help the team, and just to try to enjoy the time, full stop. Because, like I said, I might not have got the opportunity again. But I could have said I played at least once for West Ham, so I'd have been happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. And you, and not just that, but you and 35,000 people would have been in your, well, not just 35,000. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of people would want to be in your shoes. And so, even one game, it's just people would die for that opportunity and to score as well. And not only that, then you went on and played like 30 odds, obviously injuries and sort of stumbled the career, which we know. But, not only did you score, you sort of got two big ticks. You scored in your debut. That's a good West Ham tick. But then scoring against Millwall is another tick. Not many people have done that. What's it like playing in that? I remember that game vividly. I was lucky. I was up next to the police control room. That's where the announcers box was. I was up there. I was well out of the way. I was happy. What's it like being a player in that situation?
To be fair, because I was a young kid, I weren't, because I was a home team. I was all right.
Yeah.
I felt I'm at home. I felt a little bit more sorry for the Millwall players, because anything could have happened for them. But obviously, I didn't think the fans would have done any physical abuse to the players. But it's just different, isn't it? It's like you won't expect fans to be running on the pitch and stuff like that. But that night showed me how intense the rivalry was.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've always heard about it, and as a player, you hear certain people talking about it, you hear certain fans talking about it. But then to see that made me realize how much the rivalry is deep, how deep it is basically, and that because when we got to the stadium, we heard that there was something that went on outside before the game.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew this game, if we don't turn up, then we'll get it.
And obviously that was that. I mean, we had Jack on recently, and obviously that was quite an emotional game. Obviously, the first game since his dad died, and he speaks really nicely about, obviously you scored, and then went over to him and said that's for your dad, and that sort of his bottom lip went when he recorded that, because obviously it's bringing back a lot of memories. And also, ironically, it was 11 years yesterday, wasn't it? I think the game. Yeah. And it's funny because yesterday also I interviewed someone and your name came up in a Hammers 11 as well. So it was just like the worlds collided. They were doing a team of people who made their debut for West Ham in their teens. And so obviously you did. So you were in screen. But it's crazy. I think that was 11 years ago. Absolutely mental. Because
that day, obviously, it was a difficult time because me and Jack, we kind of grew up together. We came through the system together. Yeah. We lived in the same digs together for years. So and obviously I knew his dad and I knew his family. So we spent a lot of time together. So we had that bond and that connection. So when that situation, happened a couple of days before, it didn't affect me as much as it affected him, obviously because it's his dad, but it did affect me as well. So, but it affected me more because of him as well, because I knew how much his dad meant to him. Because his dad used to come to every game, every youth team game. We used to see him all the time. So it was difficult. So for me, no matter what I did on that pitch, it was always in remembrance of him and his dad, kind of thing. Yeah. So I was just I was buzzing that I was able to do something that left a memory of some sort with Jack.
Yeah. Exactly, and not only that, I mean, it's not just the situation with Jack, but obviously you've gone down in folklore history, really, Zavon, because you scored against Millwall. It's if you score against Millwall or Tottenham, that's it. You're a folk legend, so you always will be because of that goal. And it was just ironic. I thought how it was like we were planning this today. It would be if we did it yesterday, it would have been even better, but it doesn't matter. And obviously now, obviously. After that, after West Ham, went to a few clubs in Burnley and Daggers and things like that, and now back as an under-14 coach. How did that happen? Who gave you the call? What was the story of that?
So you probably will believe it. It's quite simple, quite straightforward. So obviously, when I towards the end of my career, I kind of like fell out of love with playing, because once you're playing at a certain level, there's a lot of things that goes on that a lot of people won't understand and won't know, kind of thing. And then because I was used to a certain way of living, I grew up in the West Ham system with a professional environment. There was just a lot that went on, so I kind of fell out of love with it. And at the time, Jack was the under-18s coach. And obviously, I had a bit of a knee problem, but I could still play. But because I fell out of love with it, I said I'm not going to put myself through it for something I don't love anymore. I love playing, but I just don't love what comes with it. And that's like a lot of footballers there. So when I decided I'm just going to retire and do, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I've always said in my earlier years, I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be a coach. I always said that, but then I also said I could never be an agent. But and there's one thing with me as a person, I've always wanted to be someone that I've never had before to a kid. So in my mind, if I could be someone that could help kids achieve their dreams and all of that kind of stuff, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But because I love football so much, it automatically led to coaching. Yeah. So when I finished, I was speaking to Jack, because obviously he retired early as well. So we were speaking, we kept in touch anyway. And then he's like, I'll just come in just be around and see if you like coaching and see what we do and all that kind of stuff. And obviously you've been through the academy, so you see if it's different or what, all of that kind of stuff. But I went in a few times and I just kind of fell in love with the coaching aspect of things, because then I was able to be that person that I wanted to be for a youngster. So then, because I know the game, I also wanted to learn more about the game as well. So, and that all led to coaching. So then, because I spoke to Jack, and then I had to do my badges and all that kind of stuff, and then basically because of Jack.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing. I think particularly for West Ham, particularly in sort of recent years, as you said, obviously Jack was he's over sweating his arse off in Atlanta at the moment, but obviously you're in. You got Colton, you got Paul until recently. Obviously, Concha's now gone to Billericay. You got Keno, you got Potsy. It's lovely to see, well, from a fan's perspective, the sort of the older generation, you're not old, Zav, but what I mean. So imparting West Hamness to the next generation, because that's always been a criticism of West Ham fans on their players in the last couple of years. Is there's no, apart from sort of a few, there's no West Hamness about the team. But you guys, you've been through it. You've played Millwall. People have scored against Tottenham. You scored against Millwall, and it's all this type of stuff just to keep that sort of tradition going. It's lovely to see. It really, really is.
To be fair, over the years, it's got what the club, from my point of view, what it's wanted is to have people that's been through their system, or for the club. So, especially, I was speaking from last year. In each age group, there's a player that's either played for the first team or been through the system. So, from on the 14s upwards. So I was on the 14s. COYI was with the 15s and 16s with Conch. And then Kev Keane was with the 18s, and then Potsy was with the 23s. So
good point. Yeah, it's good point when you think of it like that.
That's what the club tried to do, which is good, and obviously it was perfect timing for me as well. So it's
worked out well.
It went hand in hand, and obviously I was just happy to be back, because a lot of my friends know that West Ham means a lot to me, and I've always said to them that if it weren't for me playing for West Ham, I probably don't know where I would have been. Only God knows, but that's why I would be grateful. I know I would have I know I would have made something of my life, obviously, because I'm not that person to do nothing. But West Ham gave me the platform to achieve one of my dreams, and that's playing for some team. So I was buzzing.
Yeah. And also, under 20, so you played England under 23s, represented your country at 21 level, rather, and scored as well, So
on my debut again.
On your debut again, exactly. You came off from Theo, didn't you? Theo Walcott, I think you came on for.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So if it weren't for me getting the opportunity to play for West Ham, I wouldn't have been able to play for England 21s. Exactly. So I always go back to the root of everything that. Whatever situation it is, I always go back to the root, and the root is always West Ham. So then that's why I'm happy to be back here. So,
brilliant, and everyone's buzzing that you're back as well. So it's really, really cool. Right, anyway, so we do this thing called the Hammers. You basically, my Hammers 11 is the whole bloody point of the channel. And then what we do is everyone we interview, whether it's a fan or an ex-player, we get them to pick their 11. Now, it's not saying it's the best 11 or whatever, but the time that you played at West Ham, it could be even with some of the youth team guys, maybe. It doesn't really matter. But to pick an 11 of the players that you can play yourself. You can put yourself where you try and play 4-4-2. So you might want to play yourself up front or right wing. It's up to you what you want to do. But that's what we do. And it's quite fun. And what's really interesting, and you say how you watch games differently now as a coach. When people do their 11s, although there's the same as certain players who are usually the same from the same era, there are some who don't appear in the fans' 11s but do in the players' 11s. So guys like it's sort of your type of era, so people like Hayden Mullins, for example. Hayden's always in the team, but he's not in a fans' team. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, exactly. I think Luke Chadwick put him right back just to get him in the team because he's so important. So yeah, that's the sort of thing. Right. So we'll do this. We'll start. Who's in goal? Who's in goal firstly?
Rob Green.
Reno.
Yeah, Rob Green. Yeah.
Funny character by all accounts. Very funny character.
Funny character, but it was a different character.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I was used to. I think he was very different. He was very quiet, and he kept to himself, which he was different.
Yeah, but a great keeper. Obviously,
Yeah.
he was, and I think that's one thing West Ham have always done well. We've always had a good kit, and apart from maybe a 6-month period last year, unfortunately. We've had a strong keeper in goal. We've always done.
He was unbelievable in training, in games, and he was very professional. He was the first keeper that I've ever seen that was in before training, in the gym, doing work before training, after training, in the gym, doing work after training. And he was the first. He was one of the first people to make me realize how much work it takes to actually play at the top level.
Sure. And he did, it was at World Cup, and obviously, we had these problems at the World Cup, but it doesn't matter. He played for England, and you're right. And goalkeepers are exactly, and I think goalkeepers always, you could miss a shot towards goal, and no one remembers it. Yeah. He lets one, it's always an exposed position, goalkeeper. But we'll put Robbo in. Let's go left back. Who should we have left back then, Zav? Who's going to go?
I'm torn.
You can pick someone and then mention the other people as well as honourable mentions. It's all just a giggle anyway. But
I put Rita Lunga.
Oh, Lunga.
Yeah, but I wanted to put yeah. All right, cool. I put Rita.
Who are you toying between?
No, I'm gonna put him on the other side. Don't worry. Yeah, it's fine.
All right, okay.
I'm just gonna get crucified by someone, but it's fine.
It's not Mr. Konchesky. You're not getting crucified by Mr. Konchesky, are you?
Well, I didn't play with Conch.
Oh, you didn't play with him? Of course you didn't. No, of course you didn't. Oh, okay.
I traded with him. So yeah, Conch is there. Conch is them out of them two.
Yeah. Right, you're gonna put Conch in, or you're gonna put Ilunga in?
I played with Ilunga, so it's different.
Okay, we'll put him in. All right, we'll put Ilunga in. Crazy man, crazy guy by all accounts. Ilunga.
He was so good though.
Yeah, he's one of those people who's like he just seemed to have a really good game, and then next game he wouldn't play. He could never maintain it. You know what I mean? He was always, it wasn't consistent. Bless him. But I loved him. I thought he was really funny.
He was good.
He was a good guy. Right. Okay. We'll go. Let's go right back then. Who are we going to put on the right back position then?
So this is where I'm going to get crucified, but it's fine. I'll send the text. Say it's not good. Say I love you. I'm going to put Lucas Neal.
Nothing wrong with Lucas Neal.
But obviously, I wanted to put Julian.
But Lucas Neal, top. We've had Anton on here saying, basically saying what a top guy he was. Yeah, great captain, great man, and was quite a scary person. He just it's that Australian accent.
To be fair, he was good. I really liked him, man.
Yeah,
he was good for the young players as well. I think I played 1 or 2 games with him. I can't remember how many games, but he was on the ball defensively as a leader. He was phenomenal. So yeah, for me, it was a good signing from Blackburn.
Yeah, he was, and obviously that famous Great Escape season as well, wasn't it? So yeah, no, he seemed to, and Anton tells some funny stories about him and how he made people give a percentage of their win bonus to the kit man and stuff, and how he had team meetings without Curbs and Mervyn Day in, and he seems like a top guy. He
was a proper guy. He was a proper
man.
He cared about everyone.
Yeah, makes a huge difference when you get that in a captain.
100%.
Yeah, he just seemed. I mean, some people are captains and they're captains for captain's sake. Where Lucas Neal seemed to be a captain for the club. So it's not just you in the first team. It is the kit man. It is the tea lady. It is the ticket lady. And it just seems, I just think, but that's what a captain should be. It's not just a captain for the first team. And
the way he conducted himself off the pitch as well, it was a testament to him as a man.
Yeah.
For us as young kids, we kind of like looked up to him because of how he was on and off the pitch. So he's someone that will encourage you, but also dig you out when you do something wrong. But in a way to make you think twice, not in a malicious way, kind of things.
No, I get that. Yeah,
that's what we all liked. Well, that's what I liked anyway.
Yeah. Right, let's go centre backs. Who are we gonna have centre backs then, Zav?
So I can't put Anton because I didn't play the game first game with him. I've got Gabadon.
Oh, Gabs, yeah,
unbelievable,
great guy. Do you watch him when he hasn't done them for a while? He's DJ sets from his attic. He hasn't done them for a while, Gabs, but
that's what lockdown does. It makes you bring out some new stuff. So Gabs was on the ball.
Yeah,
brilliant. Defensively, I thought it was one of the best I played with. And just as a man, he's just a good guy, caring, and he always tried to look out for us, the youngsters as well. And that's what I liked about the club as well. When we was coming through in the academy, from the academies, like we were going to an environment where there weren't much arrogance, or weren't all the players kind of understood how it is to be a youngster coming into an environment like this.
Yeah.
So they always, all of them kind of looked out for us, which was good for us.
No, I get that. Yeah, and that's what you need, particularly as a young guy, a young kid going into the first team. Because it must be daunting. When you get the call up to start training with these guys, particularly if you're like, you like West Ham already, and it's like to see these players. You go, shit, I'm playing with these guys now. And I can imagine, it's all about encouragement, particularly for the younger guys. Right, so Gabs is in. Who's Gabs going to partner?
Tonks.
JT.
Yeah, it has to. Played with Tonks since I was under 16s.
Oh, really? Of course, because obviously Jack. Yeah. Of course.
And he was training with the first team from 16, under 16 anyway. So, but he's a good player, man. He was so composed, and he was way advanced from us from under 16s. He was doing things. It made defending look easy. Because obviously when I was in the 16s and 18s, we play against some teams, and I'll just have a field day. But when it came to him, I had to think twice.
He was a good.
He's a player, man.
Yeah. And it must, and as a striker, as a forward rather, when you're eyeing up the opposition, you must think, as you said, some games you're thinking, I'm going to have an absolute belter here, just because you may have, you see the centre backs or you see the wing, the full backs, you're thinking, I fancy this, don't you?
Yeah.
And,
yes. A lot of times I used to think, I fancy this, and then it didn't go to plan.
First impressions didn't last. Yeah. Right, let's go into midfield. Let's go left midfield. Who should we have left midfield then, Zab?
I'm gonna put Jack.
Yeah, I think you have to, otherwise he'll text you. Although
he's not one that'll text me and ask me questions.
Lovely guy.
I don't even need to speak much about Jack. Obviously, everyone knows. Not only because of our friendship, but he's just a player.
Yeah,
he could play. He could use both feet. His left foot is a bit, at times, was like a standing leg only, but that's fine. His right foot was good enough.
Yeah,
and he used to do some stuff on the pitch as a midfielder that wingers do, and I used to buzz off him as well. Even though at times in training he used to just wipe me out. There's one time in training he literally wiped me out under 18s, and they just said play on. I was out for 3 weeks.
But you're still mates, so that's all right then. That's all right.
Yeah.
On the field of play, it's different when you're off the field.
No, it's different. The reason why, for me, that's fine. You train as you want to play on the side.
Totally.
So I was good with that. I just didn't have to be interested.
Yeah, he's off for 3 weeks. Cheers, Jack. Thanks a lot, man. All right, let's go the other side. Let's go right midfield. Who's your right midfield?
Junior.
Oh yeah, good shout.
Junior.
Oh, again, there was a whole sort of raft of sort of you guys that came through, and saying, I mean, I was fortunate you got injured, and we sold Junior, and you just think, it's almost like you had like that golden era when it was always Lampard and Carrick, but actually we had and Jack and Tompkins and the four of you, and it just wasn't meant to be again. Too often it just doesn't pan out, and obviously
at the time when we left, there was a lot going on with the club as well.
Yeah, there was.
It's got like relegated, and there was new ownership and new managers. So there was a lot of changes, which
which will always happen, unfortunately. But that's
part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game, and we can just, but then we can, because nothing happened. We can always dream what if, rather than it happened. So what if we had Rio and Frank and Joe and Michael and Glenn all in the same team, and Defoe? What if we could have won the league, but we didn't, because we didn't have one. So it's about.
We've been in Champions League by now.
We would have been. When I interviewed Harry, that's what he said. He said, if we'd kept them lot, we would have been Champions League. And I totally agree with him at that time. All right, we'll put Junior in. We got central midfield. Who should we have central midfield then?
Scott Parker.
Scotty P.
Yeah.
Great shout.
Easy.
He's a man, isn't he?
He's probably top 3 best centre midfielders I played with.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? He's a great guy.
He's a proper leader, man, on and off the pitch. Technically gifted. Don't get a lot of people didn't say that before. Don't say it enough, but technically he's unreal. His energy is unreal. He's just a player. I just keep saying they're just players. But
they are. I mean, they are, and I mean, and it's great that I'm really happy that Scott's done the job with Fulham, because I just think he deserves a bit of it. It's good to have I mean, most British managers particularly tend to be, and it's no disrespect to anyone else, but they tend to be sort of the Eddie Howe sort of tracksuit, we can do it. Scott, I don't know, there's something about a manager who's always in a shirt and tie and really smartly dressed in the touchline. It tends to be more continental managers, like like Pellegrini did, but Guardiola, and they tend to be all nice. And Scott's just oozes class, I think.
Yeah,
I would eventually I would, in a few years' time, after David's done a great job creating everything, I'd love to see Scott involved at West Ham. I just think it'd be great. And he's one of those players who really sort of I get really passionate about, because he comes up quite a lot in discussion of these 11s, and everyone's like, because he went, I would put Scott Parker in, but he went to Tottenham, and that winds me up more than anything, because he was like, for 3 years he was the man. He won Ham of the Year 2 years in a row, and
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So for me, I get that there's a rivalry between Tottenham and West Ham. I'm just looking at the man himself and the player.
Totally.
He was unbelievable. At times, he dragged us through certain games.
Yeah.
Playing on defensive midfield.
Yeah. You saw that sometimes. He literally pulled his socks up. And I used to watch, obviously, I'd see, I got quite a nice view of the pitch. And you'd see him literally almost crawl off the pitch at the end of the game. He put so much effort in, and he loved to do that little Parker pirouette, I used to call it.
Yeah.
And then Noble,
once he does that, you can't get the ball off him.
Nah, and then Mark does it, and I noticed Dex does it as well. So it's almost like it's been passed down through the generations. This sort of the Parker pirouette. Right. Okay, so Scotty's in. Who's Scotty going to partner in that midfield?
There's only one. Mark Noble.
Yeah, got to be, man.
Technically, Nobes is so underrated. It's unbelievable.
I
And
agree.
I've said it for years. Like, I'm confused how he's never played for England.
No.
Like, I look at the England squad now,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what's the guy got?
Yeah. Well, fortunately, he's got this on. He wears this. That's the trouble, Zavon. You know that.
Nah, like, I'm so confused, and
I know.
yeah, like I've said it for like years. Once I left and I was at different other clubs, and people asked me about who's good and who's the best, and I was Nobes, and technically, he's the best, one of the best.
Yeah.
You just don't get enough credit for it, and
No.
I'm not one to slate anyone, any managers or anything like that. But decision making regarding him not playing for England is poor. It's just like now with Grealish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In the squad.
Well, also it's like weird. Obviously, he got Grealish isn't in, but Calvin is, and you're thinking, well, you know, you said he can't be in England squad really if you don't play in the Premier League. Well, Calvin didn't, and Jack did, and
excuse.
There's
behind it.
Yeah. But you don't know, do you? You don't know what goes on. But you think on form, you know, someone like Jack Grealish would offer something different in midfield for England, and I'd love to see him and Deck, you know, in a midfield. It'd be lovely, you know. I think it'd be good.
Him and Deck, for me personally, is the most gifted centre midfielder England have.
Yeah.
Grealish is the most gifted attacking midfielder England's got.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair enough.
I don't think anyone could commit, win fouls, be creative as much.
No. And that's you're totally right. No, you're totally right. No, it's true. It's someone I was listening to Talk Sport were talking about it, and it's like, yeah, he does get fouled a lot, and maybe he does sometimes makes a bit too much of the foul, but the fact is he gets fouled, and then that's a you know, around the sort of the area box, that's an opportunity to score. So that's what you want. You want defenders having to foul you. It might be a penalty, it could be a free kick, and you know,
it's not even only the fouls. I just think it's just him as a player. What he's done for Villa. He single-handedly kept them up.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I agree.
Because I've watched a few games after lockdown. Literally every time they got the ball, they passed it to him only.
Yeah.
Just like what Barcelona does with Messi.
Yeah.
If one team does that, it shows how important this player is.
Yeah.
And then there's no coincidence why he's won so much fouls.
No, because he has so much of the ball as well, isn't it? So inadvertently, if you're passing it to him, he's going to have more ball than anywhere else. So he's going to get fouled. Yeah. And, you know, and then obviously come September the 12th, when Messi lines up again with Declan Rice and Souček in that midfield. Yeah, that is going to be amazing. If he does, you know, obviously we sidetrack, but if Messi does come to the Premier League, that will be incredible, I think, just because
I think it'll be scary. It would be a bit scary for a lot of teams.
I think he will, yeah. But I think it'd be scary for him. I think, you know, he's made such a career out of Spain being Messi. I just think he'll get, for the first few games, he's going to get fouled off the pitch just because...
I think he'll find it easy. Because I think the Champions League is the highest of the highest. The tempo is at the highest of the highest. So he's playing against teams from all walks of life. So he's used to the tempo.
Sure. And
his brain, he plays the game like a slow motion, but it's everything going fast here.
Yeah.
But I think he'll be fine. Everyone says, it's because he's at Barcelona why it looks so easy. No, it's because he makes it easy. Remember, he has to have the ball. He has to be in places. Fair enough, he's got good players around him, which helps. But to score the goals he does, and to assist that he does, it's all him.
It's true. Obviously, you know, he's graced Upton Park. You know, he's played at Upton Park, and and I remember that game very well. You know, and And obviously, I've seen him. I used to go to Barcelona quite a lot, so I've seen him play, and he's an amazing player. And no, I agree. It'd be interesting to see what happens if he comes and who he goes to, and we'll see. We'll see. It might just be a massive sort of PR stunt to get the Barcelona president out of, which is something which he wants to do. Maybe, but who knows? Because apparently, haven't they ripped up? They're going to wrap up Suarez's contract as well. Yeah, so it's like, what's Koeman doing, man? It's like, absolutely mental. But no, we'll see what happens. But no, it'd be great to see him in the Premier League. I just think, it's the best league in the world, and you need to have the best players. And him and Neymar, the two who haven't played in the Premier League. Ronaldo did obviously, and Suarez did, but. Them two, and then Mbappe obviously as well. Right, okay, we'll put Noble in. Let's go up front. Who are we going up front? Are you going to put yourself in, Zav? That's the question.
Nah.
No.
I'll leave myself out this time.
Oh, okay. You're going to coach the side instead.
I'm a coach now. I'll finish playing. I put Dean Ashton.
Good shout. Great shout. Great player.
Before he got injured, he was unplayable. I think he had everything. He had everything. Left foot, right foot, header, hold up play. He had everything.
He did. Yeah.
Maybe not as quick as most people, but didn't need that.
Nah.
But he weren't slow.
No, he weren't slow. He had enough to get by a defender. It's a terrible shame. And he was. You're right. He was probably, well, in my opinion, the most complete striker because, as you said, I haven't seen a striker like that. As in, he can do everything. He wasn't particularly quick, but he had a head. He could skill. He could turn. He had a shot on him. Had a brain on him. And again, it happens too often, Zav, with injuries. I mean, with you, with Junior, with there's everyone who's it's just injuries, and it just
injuries. That's part of the game. You got to expect it sometimes. You don't want it to happen, but it can happen. So,
What's it like when you're injured for a long time? How do you feel like mentally? What's it like?
Obviously, it's tough. It's going to be tough mentally because at times you come into training, then you're in the physio room instead of being on the grass. I want to be a footballer, not a patient.
Yeah, totally.
So it's tough in that aspect. And then at times you're in the gym, and then not on the grass. So it's tough seeing all the boys training. Sometimes looking out, seeing that they're having fun and all of that stuff, which mentally could be a bit draining. But I was lucky to have good people around me, and the club helped me quite a lot. So it weren't as draining as it could have been. So I had good people around me. So I was all right.
No, I get that. That's cool. All right. Okay, Dino's in. There's one more spot. Who's he going to be?
COYI.
Yeah, that's say if you didn't put him in, there'll be some problems coming back to you.
I'll get another call. But no, COYI was before his injury. When I was coming through, he was unplayable. I remember that goal against Tottenham. That's when I made that game. I made my debut, first ever Premier League appearance for West Ham, and I was he was unplayable that game.
Yeah.
And then games after that, it was unplayable as well. He was probably on his day.
Yeah.
He was a handful.
Yeah, he was on. You're right. On his day, he was when he had it. When it was going right for him, you're right. He was just as good as anyone else in the Premier League. And what's it? And for you, obviously making the Premier League is like the holy ground. It's the place everyone wants to be. So obviously, not only making your Premier League debut, but against Tottenham as well. Again, I know you said it. You must have been absolutely buzzing for like your Premier League start because you've probably been watching Premier League since you were a kid, and now you're playing it. Every boyhood dream you're sort of fulfilling, and it must be amazing.
I think it took me a while to actually really grasp the moment. I didn't really grasp the moment in the game because when I came on, I think it was losing 2-1. So I came on to try and make an impact. So I weren't. My main focus was just to try to do something. So I didn't really capture it fully. but after when I thought about it, like I've accomplished the dream. So there was no one could take that from me.
No,
that's what I've always said. So like obviously as a kid you always dream to be certain things, or you want to do certain things, and the moment it happens, it's like not a weight off your shoulder, but like a relief and an accomplishment that you could actually say you put everything into, and then you got your rewards. So I was happy.
That's brilliant.
Over me.
Yeah, fantastic. Mate, it's been absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really, really nice. I appreciate everything's busy and the kids and everything going. I know how you feel, so I really appreciate you. Fucking hell, 50 minutes. Jesus, where did that come from? So thanks, Zav. I really, really appreciate it. And obviously everyone does who's watching or listening to it on the podcast or whatever, or YouTube or whatever. So thank you very much. It's been lovely. Thank you.
No problem at all. Thanks,
been really good. Absolute pleasure. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching or listening. Like, share, subscribe. If it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, whatever, podcasts, all that type of stuff. For me and Zav, take care, everyone. Stay safe. See you soon. Come on, you irons. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Cheers.